Nicolas Jackson got sent off against Newcastle. I mean that Chelsea do not have their starting striker for the last two games of the Premier League season. Those two games Chelsea have to win to get Champions League football. It is really not an ideal scenario, but we are going to find a solution in this video. I've got four options for Chelsea to use as our attack in our last two games, and I'm going to just talk about them. We can discuss which we think the best one is. After you've listened to all of these, please make sure to let me know in the comments what you think the best option is, what you think our attack should be for our last two Premier League games. I would like to say two disclaimers before we get into it. First of all, I will not play Palmer on the right wing. He doesn't work as a right winger in Maresca's system, so there's just no point even entertaining that idea. And the second thing to note is that Jadon Sancho cannot play against Manchester United because that is his parent club. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get into it. And the first option we have is Cole Palmer up front, and this one is very interesting to me. The reason is absolutely fantastic, as you can see, is it means we could play Reece James, our best right back at right back, we could play Caicedo and Lavia and Enzo Fernandez all in the midfield, and we could have Cole Palmer up front. That is something we've been needing to do, and the only way we can really do that is if we play Palmer right wing, but with no striker and Palmer up top, that means we can play Palmer and all the other players, and it's just the best option for me to get everyone involved, which is absolutely fantastic. I do think when Jackson was sent off, he did play a lot kind of up front in that game. He was playing very high up the pitch, further forward, which I really like to see. And I think people say his lack of physicality and his pace mean that he wouldn't be a good striker. But against a team like Manchester United and maybe Forest, especially Man United, I think he'd be really good. He could just hold the ball up. He could have loads of shots against their defence. Their defence basically isn't good enough. And the one thing I really like about Cole Palmer playing up top at striker in that position is normally when he plays in attacking midfield, he gets man marked completely by midfielder. He can't really get man marked at striker because you're just going to be next to the centre backs anyway. So it takes that kind of like stress out of it. Enzo Fernandez can play really far forward. We can have our midfielders playing, Reece James playing. I think it's a really nice option. I think it's something we should definitely look at because I think he can just get loads of goals in that scenario, really trick players. And a bit like when Bobby Firmino played for Liverpool with kind of Salah and Mane either side, I think he can sometimes peel back into that kind of false nine role. We can have Madueke and Neto bombing down either wing. And I just think overall it's a fantastic solution. The second option we have is Pedro Neto up front. Now, this is something we did very frequently when Nicolas Jackson was injured recently. So it's something that I think we should definitely have a look at, have a gander at, because it could really be a nice option for us. The magical thing about him is that he has fantastic pressing availability. He's so keen. He'll run at the defence for an extremely long time. And I think he does a lot of what Jackson does, apart from some hold-up play, some ability, but that's because physically, he is a bit weaker. Now, the only thing that we'd have to bear in mind here is that with Neto up front, it means we can't play our preferred wingers, which is Noni Madueke on the left and Neto on the right. So someone like Jadon Sancho would have to come in for the Forest game, and for the Man United game, obviously, we'd have to have Madueke probably on the right-hand side, back to his normal side, and then we'd have to have Tyreek George. I'm not happy about that, but I just, in those big games, playing someone as young as Tyreek George sometimes worries me a little bit. But I think in this system, we would have to get Reece James out because we need to move Cole Palmer back to attacking midfielder. We need to then have Enzo and Lavia in the midfield, and then Caicedo would probably go back to the inverted position. I think, although that inverted role didn't work really that much against Newcastle in the first half, I think against Man United, having Caicedo inverting and then coming into midfield will be the best option because Man United are not as good as Newcastle. They won't press as much as Newcastle. Will have the ball an awful lot against Man United. So I think going back to that is a great option, but it does get Reece James out of the team, which is always sad. And it means that Neto isn't on the wing, which is his best position. Just before we get into the next ones, if you enjoyed the video, hit a like, hit subscribe. It means the absolute world. We're so close to 500 subscribers. Really appreciate the support so far, and I really hope you're enjoying the videos. Anyway, the third option we are going to be moving on to, Tyreek George, the evil Saka, some people have been calling him. I'm not sure I like that name. I want to give him his full credit. He is Tyreek George, and that is that. Anyway, him up front is something really exciting. The thing that scares me about this, and I'm quite hesitant, is because these two games are so pressurized. We have to win both these games to get Champions League football. That's almost a fact at this point. That really scares me. And putting the pressure on someone really young, I think he's 18, 19. That's something I maybe not want to do. Another reason why I'm a bit hesitant to play Tyreek George up front is because I think he's incredible at coming off the bench. I think that's such a good USP of his. And I think when he comes on, it's really scary. We saw in the game, like in the Fulham game, when he scored the goal to equalise us, to make it 1-1, he came on and he just looked terrifying because the Fulham defence were a bit tired and he is just so hungry and he absolutely loves it. Now, if we were to play Tyreek George up front, which is good because it means that Noni Madueke gets to play and Neto gets to play on their wings, and that's fantastic. The only thing I would say is I would be more likely to play him against Man United than Nottingham Forest, because Man United, they are a lot worse team. They're a lot less physical in defence, and they'll just be focusing on the Europa League kind of final. So I think it would be a great game for George to just go and be like, right, against Man United, one of the biggest teams in England, I'm going to show what's up. Against Forest, the pressure of that game, basically, that game might be whoever wins gets Champions League. And what it means is just, I really just don't want to put a 19-year-old through that massive pressure, because if he doesn't deliver, he will be absolutely gutted. But at the same time, that could be a perfect reason to play him against Forest, because he may not feel pressure because he's just young and he absolutely loves it. And then that's our third option. So those are three options. And then the fourth option, we're going to be potentially going with an actual striker. We have got Mark Guiu up front, as you can see there. He is our only fit actual striker at the club right now. I wouldn't class Nkunku as a striker, and I don't want to play him. I probably should have mentioned that at the beginning, because I don't want Nkunku to play another game for Chelsea Football Club because he doesn't care for us. I think Mark Guiu is a very interesting option. The only couple of reasons why I wouldn't want to play Mark Guiu up front straight away. First of all, he's been injured out for a while. And that's something that worries me. I don't want him coming straight in a very high-pressured game and having to deliver and not being fully fit. I want someone to be fully fit, ready to play, and do everything to get those 3 points, because we're going to have to pull everything out of the bag to get these 3 points in these last two games. And the other thing about Mark Guiu is that I think he is also, just like George, fantastic impact. I think when the defenders are tired and Mark Guiu comes on and he's pressing the defenders, it's absolutely fantastic. But right now, him coming on starting a game, I don't think he has as big an impact. And I think some Chelsea fans are kind of misremembering how good Mark Guiu is. I think he's a good player with a lot of potential, but it's a 5 million buyout clause from Barcelona, and he's very young. And I think people think he's amazing because they're remembering him as a player that scored a fair few goals in the Conference League. And not just the Conference League, the early group stage of the Conference League, where the quality of teams was really, really poor. He is a great player, and I'm not dissing, I'm not insulting him, but I think I just would be careful. I think if he starts against Man United, I think some people could be a bit disappointed about how good he actually is in the Premier League against a Premier League team at a more top level. I don't know. Those are kind of all my thoughts of what I think our striker options should be. I think the Cole Palmer one against Man United is the one I would like to go for, because I'd like to see all three midfielders. I'd like to see Reece James a right back, and I'd like to see what Palmer can do against a very, very ropey Man United defence. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Hit subscribe if you enjoyed. Hit like if you enjoyed the video as well, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.